Hey guys, welcome back to Konversation with me, Rick.
And me, Nain.
And our special guest that we had a special guest before, but we didn't get to show you.
But now we know his name.
Now we know his name.
Jay.
It's Miguel.
Wow.
No?
Miguel. Oh my God.
Not Miguel.
J. Jasper.
Oh, J. Jasper. Pugao.
Pugao. Miguel.
I'll go with Miguel. Miguels that I know are kind of handsome.
I'm just kidding, folks. I know this is Lawrence.
We know Miguel, and he's not that handsome.
Oh, well.
But he's half Mexican, so maybe that's
Yeah,
why.
there you go. That could be the reason. Anyways, this is Jasper. Jasper, thank you so much for coming back and redoing this whole. I know you're like cursing us left and right, so.
Oh, definitely.
Mother.
I put some spell on you guys. Like, these guys want me to come back, but I'm super helpful. I'm super thankful that you guys invited me back. You thought it was worth
man.
it. So.
Well, it
Oh
really
no,
was.
it definitely was. I mean, I got a lot of hate mail. I mean, we had
Good.
a lot of people sign up and subscribe because of his
To
name.
see him, yeah.
Well,
and
we're
then
back.
we didn't show it. They're like, "What the fuck,
Where's this
dude?"
guy at, man? So,
Yeah.
well, then I'll collect royalties
I was getting
later.
death threats from other ninjas. They're
Yeah.
like, "Putang ina niyo na."
Yeah, see, that's
I'm like,
the thing.
"Oh, dude, I'm sorry."
I have a bunch of minion ninjas out there.
And I'm like, "No, we'll get him
willing
back
to
on. We'll
fight.
get him back
No,
on."
he has quite a following. I've
He
seen,
does,
man.
and that's why I was like,
No, it's just a community of martial artists that I'm grateful to be a part of, just like this. So
well,
thank you for
and this
inviting
is
me
the
back.
truth. We had 8 subscribers because of his name.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
check it out.
So they must have been your close relatives. Goes, "Hey guys, watch him on this guy's
Yeah,
show."
no, it's all my child slaves. It's like, y'all better subscribe,
So-
make it look like I'm popular.
Folks, we're going to try to rehash a lot of stuff that we talked about that you all missed because I love the information that you gave us last time, and especially about Sunny Pot. Now, explain to everybody again.
For the first
I'm
time.
gonna
For the
pretend
first-
that it's like it's my first one.
Again for the first time.
You hit record, right?
You gotta check, dude.
No, it's on.
You got me nervous.
You want to walk up there and look?
Yeah. You
I'll go
make
check.
me want to walk up there. I got a little video of
Is it red?
background. Okay, cool.
2 minutes in.
All right, good. Woo! Shit.
Wow, that's how bad it is that he actually had to get up and check.
I'm making him feel better.
You know what? That's good. I need to make you feel better.
Well, 'cause
I mean, unless you want to check it personally and make sure.
I trust your video
Triple
skills,
check.
gentlemen.
Now,
We all
listen, Sunny Pot,
Oh,
this
yes.
man is a legend in my mind because of all the things that I've heard.
Yes, sir.
You know, I mean, he's almost mystical. At the time that I was hearing about him, he was kind of a hermit.
Yes.
You know, he never, I never even heard that he actually went to a school or anything like that, but he was always just trained out of his house. People would go to him. So let's talk about,
Yeah. So Maestro Sunny Pot is my teacher. Shout out to him. R.I.P. Passed away in 2007. Originally from Pugao, Cebu, in the Visayan Islands in the Philippines, and then he came out here and was living in Alameda.
Okay.
And he's been like an amazing mystical hermit type teacher. He never owned his own commercial studio. Only taught out of his own house. And then he had all these great masters and grandmasters come and visit him. He gained popularity. He always been on the under, kind of like the low key. He prefers it that way, and he uses us to filter new students. Everybody was always trying to get in touch with him, but he gained popularity when a few times. One was when Sifu Jesse Glover found him. Sifu Jesse Glover also passed away in the 70s. One of Bruce Lee's 3 students, I believe, and
Wow.
African American gentleman. And met Sonny, and he was quoted saying that Sonny moved like Bruce, but with sticks in his hand. So that's like
That's
going on
crazy.
all over the
I mean,
internet.
that's an awesome compliment to
Yeah,
somebody,
yeah.
you
So
know,
and
to
he,
say.
yeah, to say that, right? To be
say, yeah.
with the legend himself, right?
He was a dancer too, like Bruce, right?
Just like Bruce Lee was a cha-cha dance champion, Maestro Sunny was a hustle dance champion. So he brought some of that influence in the footwork. It's one of the unique things about our system. His system is the footwork. Aside from his influence in the southern parts of the Philippines and the Muslim area, Mindanao, where we've been influenced with
Did he
our
train
moral-
out there? Did he do a lot of training?
You know, he there's the stories about him visiting family members during the summer or on his vacation, and then he'd been welcomed in with certain families, and he got to learn from a bunch of moral Moro-based martial arts teachers, and the Moro is like, again, a sovereign people, and Bangsa Moro, we always want to promote them, but there has been kind of like some politics involved with certain people, with certain groups.
Isn't that always the case with Filipino martial arts of any kind?
Yeah.
Always some kind of political.
Some kind, that's probably politics.
Political stuff.
Yeah.
But
I think in martial arts in general, there's that.
But even more so.
Yeah.
Do you think it's the ego? Is that what it is? Like the.
I mean, there's always going to be that, but there's always a lot of our people has been through a lot of trauma from colonization. So because of that, repeated colonization from Spain to Japanese to the United States,
right.
And a lot of that trauma then kind of affects the people and how they behave and they treat one another.
So it divided.
Yeah, divide and conquer has always been one of the main tools of European. Warfare, divide and conquer. Well, I think just in general,
and
right?
And
Political shit. Sorry.
But that's some of the roots of it, right? So Maestro Sunny has been influenced by some of the Moro footwork, and we kind of keep it on the under, but it's out of respect. It's never ever to exploit the Muslim. I think Maestro Sunny would always actually want to promote the other indigenous people of the Philippines, like the Moros, like the Muslims. So it's out of respect, and that's part of the influence of our footwork. So that's one of the things that Maestro Sunny did. He brought a lot of innovation into the Filipino martial arts community and in the game.
Right.
So I have a question, because back in the day, I mean, from what I hear stories, is that a lot of the arts were only taught within families. There wasn't any schools or anything of the sort. It was everything's kind of underground. Were the Moro the same way?
I don't know, because I'm not, and I can't really speak on that. But I know in general, from what I know about Philippine history, it's just like we are tribes.
Right.
So we're in kind of smaller communities, and when we taught, generally from what the stories that I hear from our elders, is usually like curtailed to individuals or to small groups and small bands of folks. And I think as war or as invasion. And then there's more unity, there's more connection between tribes, between different dialects and different people. Then there's been a little bit more integration, right? But generally, it's more like, hey, our stuff. That's their stuff, that's our stuff.
But that's what I'm saying. That must have been big then for Sunny to be allowed to train with people that weren't his people.
Right, when you're a child, when you're a kid, you become more welcome into things like that,
Okay.
And I think that's one of the things that I watching Guru Dan's presentation in the Smithsonian was.
And he's referring to Inosanto.
Guru Dan Inosanto, one of our
elders. You're
elders.
talking about Danny, my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that name
He's
gets
awesome
thrown,
too. He's
gets
awesome
thrown a
too.
lot in this show.
Yeah, but Guru Dan Inosanto is the other legend, the other student of Bruce Lee.
Right.
Living in LA, and most of his students are the ones
Dude, I
laughing.
mean,
all of the
he's got such a
movies.
I watched that very same
Yeah,
interview,
presentation
and that
was
was
beautiful.
That was a beautiful. I mean, the things that
He's
he
a living
talks
legend,
Yeah.
and he's a national treasure for us.
Yeah.
However, some of his stuff have been, some other scholars in the community, Filipino, might be like, hey, that one, we need to identify that more, or dig into that more. Or that one,
Right.
we don't have documents to prove that, whatever. But that's, which is all valid, right? But I mean, Guru Dan, we still gotta respect him, because most of the students and his influence in FMA. I mean, again, he's ranked in so many different systems.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Filipino martial arts is all about.
In that
integration,
video, he has 27 masters that
right.
he learned them. So,
And that's what Filipino
yeah.
martial arts is. The integration is like hip hop. You bring in the best in everything, and you make it's like jazz. You make the best out of everything.
It's crazy that you said, because here's the thing about Inosanto. Because one, he was very likable, first of all. I mean, everybody who meets him always has good things to say about him. And I think that's why he was able to go to all these different masters, say, hey, I want to learn from you right now.
Although in his younger years, he wasn't very good at pictures because he always looked mad.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to. When you're a martial artist, you gotta look mean.
Yeah.
gotta
For
look
some
mean.
reason, right?
You gotta look mean, unless it's now.
Yeah, but because nowadays, if you try to go to that many different schools, half of them would turn you away and say, no, we don't,
Yeah.
And but for you to be able to be that personable to everybody,
Right.
And they say, yeah, oh, you knew Bruce Lee, sure, yeah,
Well,
and he was always
right.
willing to share what he knew,
Right, and that's important. But if you look at if you watch that video, Guru Dan also talks about his upbringing as a child. Right. He talks about how his dad's like, go to all of these masters and shut your mouth.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is the thing about being humble, you know, and when you're humble and you have humility in your heart, then teachers see that and they'll accept you, right? They'll bring you in. But if you're braggadocious and if you're like, my system is this, then those are going to be detected right away. And people
Oh,
will,
yeah.
You know, so humility was
Well-
part of what Guru Dan brought now.
Right.
And that is something that we should all learn from. And then connecting that with the reason I brought him up with Sunny in terms of what you mentioned about him being welcomed into the spaces where he's not from is having humility, right? And being
Right.
a child at heart. If you're a child at heart, if you have humility, regardless of what your age is, people are going to accept you. And I
Right.
think that's one of the things that he talked about in that thing. It's like Filipinos would teach people even across ethnicity if
Oh,
you're
yeah,
part of the
definitely.
family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at this dude.
Yeah.
Right? No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, even that. But
Right.
even Guru Dad spoke about how Filipino martial arts is also influenced by Aztec warriors.
Yeah.
Right?
And the
Because of the-
Spaniards as well.
Yeah, of course, we all know that. But
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
the indigenous people
Oh,
of
yeah, yeah,
Mexico.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
what he was saying. Now I don't know where the documentation, but I know for a fact, not a fact, but I know I've been reading about you know, during the Acapulco Manila galleon trade ran by the Spaniards.
Damn, this guy is so fucking
You know,
cultured.
like
I love it.
The Filipinos came
Right.
to Mexico and fought alongside Mexicans
Right.
to fight for Mexican independence under the banner of General Vicente Guerrero at the time, who was Mexican and black. He was an indigenous and black. So talking about solidarity, blacks and Latinos and Filipinos coming together, it wasn't just during the UFW.
No.
It was even before that, right?
Because even the
know?
natives of Mexico were taken to the Philippines, and
Right, right.
there's still lineages of people over
Right.
there.
So all of that, you know, are existing now. We don't see documentations yet, but man, let the imagination
Oh,
flourish.
yeah,
But
can you
also,
imagine?
you know, our indigenous people's history and books
Right.
have intentionally been burned or not
Oh, yeah.
the word, you know, whatever, or taken away. So that way, you know, there's the supremacy of European or Eurocentric or white, whatever.
Yeah, the difference
But-
between indigenous art and high art.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's why even indigenous folks or Spanish or European folks, they're like, yeah, we love FMA because it's influenced by Spain, which is true, but
Yeah.
it wasn't only. It was
No.
an indigenized, highly civilized art. Then we got colonized, and then the Filipinos are like, shit, we'll learn that too,
Yeah.
you know, and we'll put it
Well,
in
you know,
play. Then
they
it
were the
became-
first version of Jeet Kune Do, basically. Because,
Right. The
You know, they learned
JKD
from so many different people and used everything they could that they thought
Right.
was worthy of being used.
already way before Europeans came. It was
Yeah.
like Indonesians and Chinese and Japanese, you know. And you see some. You can even look at ancient. And I don't know the connections, but I saw a magazine that was in German, and I couldn't read it, but I did see it, and help me FMA community find that. Is this German magazine? But it was then there was also an image of like Egyptian hieroglyphs with like double swords.
Yeah,
with a blade,
I've seen that.
You know, which is
Yeah.
tight. Which is tight. I mean, everything.
I watched
connected.
the History Channel and they talked
Oh, I
about
love that shit.
Well,
Yeah.
because even
Yeah.
the karate nerd on YouTube, which
Yeah.
you know he hasn't gotten back to me, but it's no worries. Jesse Enkamp, but he talks about how a lot of the karate forms that you know he knows may have come from the Filipino martial arts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I love it.
definitely. Yeah.
I love it.
So
But then
this-
again, it's all one.
exactly, the
Yeah.
human body is the human
Yeah,
body. There's
yeah,
only so
two
much you
hands,
can do
two
with it.
feet.
Right.
What really
Yeah,
are you going to
yeah.
create?
But I
other than-
liked honoring the stories.
Yes.
You know, like those parts to me, like I like to learn. I'm a student of history or herstory or
Herstory.
You know, yeah, because I don't want to like you know. There's a thing about in the educator community, like you know, we don't want to have just a history of his. Where there's
You know,
like
folks, just so you
Eurocentric-
know, the reason why he's saying that because he's actually a teacher. Correct?
Right, right, and yeah, and you know we gotta, and it's really important to like identify etymology and how learning language could be oppressing us. You know, so if we say
In other
things
words, men and women on equal terms versus
Right.
always being a male-centric.
Yeah.
like, wow, deep. Look at this, guys.
Explanation.
This is the place that I like to
Yeah.
be. People are
Well,
conscious
we
about
read a
this
lot
kind
of books
things.
from the last time we interviewed because we know how you
We,
are.
we, felt, we felt stupid, so we were like, no, brush on that, brush up on that,
we did our
brush up on
homework.
that,
Oh,
brush
good,
up on
good.
that.
And that's what we're supposed to do. Like refine one another, martial skills as
Yeah,
well
you know.
as
You
know,
made me have
cultural.
to read a book, you asked.
Man, sharpens man, yeah, right.
Yeah, no, but it's good for us to be able to like know our history not from just white male,
The one perspective.
centered,
Yeah.
you know,
You know
like
who's a great- who
indigenous
does that
women,
really well?
Filipino
Yeah.
men. Yeah.
Master Melapilia.
Mel.
Yeah, he wrote a book
Master
called No History,
History,
No,
Mel. No
Self.
self. Right,
Yeah.
right. And you know, Mel. Shout out to Master Mel. Like he's also a leader in the Vallejo, in the Bay Area, in the Vallejo
Oh, yeah.
community. He's
Oh,
like
yeah.
plays a political role. So those are kind of leaders we need to be able to then kind of guide our community in a way that is looking out for us. You know, like people that know our history, people that know about our. You know, it's like it's great when we're voting. You
Right,
know,
right.
I mean, some people feel like this shit is corrupt in the first place.
Right.
But if we're voting for someone who looks like us, that's local, that can affect us, then we're kind of okay with that kind of system, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're putting a vote into ourselves, really.
And that's right. That's right. To your children. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's important because it's like, if we're doing it like old school way, we're just voting for someone who's like cool or popular, then it's like,
That's
it's going to be their story, you know? But what
Dude,
about...
that's how it is in the Philippines, though.
Right, right. I
Everybody in
know.
the Philippines is either a movie star or a boxer or, you know.
Yeah. And that's part of the colonization of us
Yeah.
people, you know? So that way, this is good because
Pick
now
the
we
winner.
kind of level, we kind of rise our level of awareness and consciousness, you know? That's important.
So, you know, you talk about the solidarity stuff, right? And you see the shit that's going on in the world today. And as you know, Nain and I have spearheaded this whole
That's amazing. You guys
this
doing
thing
amazing work.
about-
He says Nain and I, but I'm really just along for the ride. It's all him.
You're like cheerleader. Nah.
I'm just
No,
a
dude, we
cheerleader.
need you
I'm
as a
support.
brand.
I'm support, okay?
yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, and the thing is, you know, the elderly Asians are being attacked randomly. Nobody cares. You know, it's like, you look like, you know, and they're just doing it, right? But unfortunately, because we're Filipinos, considered Asians,
Right. Kind
They're-
of look like it sometimes.
yeah, you know, and they're now beating us up and stuff. And when I saw that, my first, you know, touch on this stuff is that I heard about a Filipino guy in Daly City standing out in front of his house. Some guy runs up on him and just slams him, you know, and I think, you know, I mean, just really messes the guy up. And after that, I said, okay, this has got to stop. This is ridiculous. I need to help.
Yeah.
And I reached out to the martial arts community. Thank you guys, all of you.
And the
You know,
UCP.
Yeah, and
Who's UCP?
now UCP is an organization that
Oh,
we
UPC, sorry.
Yeah,
UPC. Oh, those are the folks that
Yeah.
are walking the elderly. Yeah, that's dope.
And,
that's
I
dope.
jumped in with them.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
if you guys look at my posts, I'm asking for donations for that group. So please give
United
generously.
Peace Collaborative.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and they're an awesome group. The lady that
I
led
saw
that.
them in the news. Yeah. That's
If you look at on the the weekend that your show was
You were
supposed to come
be
on, we put her on.
put her on.
Her name is Liana Louie. Dude, I love
Shout
you.
out
You are
to
so
you.
awesome. You're my Wonder Woman.
Shout
Because
out to
this
you,
lady, you know, on her own for the last year has been walking Chinatown 24/7. I shit you not. I mean, it's amazing. So I told her, hey, you know, I want to join your group. So last week I did their 2-hour orientation, and I walked around Chinatown with her, and she's fearless. You know, she's just walking to people who look like they're not. Hey,
Dude,
can I help you
it's-
with?
It's
How old is
this
she?
weird switch.
She's got to
Is
be in her
40s?
Yeah, in her 40s.
awesome.
But she's
But
it's
she's so
awesome.
meek. She when
Yeah.
you meet her, she's so yeah. But the moment that it's related to this,
Oh, man,
like,
she gets
this
angry, yeah.
lioness comes
Yeah,
out,
I mean,
like this
she's-
energy, just
yeah.
and you can see it on the video. She's I'm talking about my past, and all of a sudden she gets really passionate about
Yeah,
what
and
she's
then
talking
you
about.
can, you can
and
hear
the
her
energy
voice
just
change.
changes.
Yeah, watch that. It's so
It's
informative.
amazing.
Watch that.
Yeah.
It's amazing to watch. But you do something similar in the sense that you try to bring the community together and even kind of mesh between martial arts because you've been doing it for how long now? You do some
The
event.
Black
in-
Solidarity thing
Yeah.
going on.
we did 2 events, the Black and Asian Solidarity in Oakland,
Okay.
led by Coach Bilal. Shout out to Coach Bilal and the International Boxing Institute and Dead Game Boxing. And these are like amazing. He's a former professional boxer.
Oh, okay.
He's now an international coach.
Oh, wow.
And he coaches out of at Lake Merritt, but he's also been coaching around the world. He was in Africa and then he was in China, right? So he's
Jeez.
working with Chinese boxers.
Wow.
So he's the one that organized it, right? So I
Okay.
was like super honored for him to invite me. You know, like I think it's great for our people to organize these things,
Right.
But for me, as a Filipino American man, as an Asian American, I also am honored to see folks outside of my community organizing, like particularly the black community, right? Or his
Right.
community. And then he invited me, and he's like, and then he had me want to take part in it and co-lead it. So I was one of the 3 other teachers. We had a Afro-Brazilian teacher, taught capoeira, and then we had which is Professor Melandro. Shout out to Bay Area Capoeira, and then also Master Pitts from Pitts Martial Arts in Oakland. He's been teaching there 30 years. Master Pitts is also, shout out to you, sir, because he's been inviting me to teach at his school. I don't have my own school, so for the past 2-3 years I've been teaching at a good school. However, COVID, that's not happening right now. But those are the gentlemen that organized, that taught. There was at downtown Oakland, and there was a bunch of organizers and activists and people of all descent and all genders and all age.
Life,
that came and trained. We got covered by the news. But it was just really a solidarity to kind of to show that both communities are not gonna stand for any kind of elderly abuse.
Right. That's, I mean, don't you think that's ridiculous? Though?
Yeah, and that is
what
ridiculous.
What the hell
but
is going on in the world?
we have to. That is not nothing new, though, Puerto Rico.
Nope.
No, it's not nothing new.
It's
Because
not.
listen,
It's been going on
because
forever.
just like if you look at